Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in and joining us tonight. Before we start, I would like to say a big thank you to all our Malaysian frontliners for the great work that they are doing. My name is Didi, and I'm a professional conference organizer, or as we call ourselves, a PCO. My company is Medical Conference Partners, and we are hosting this webinar on behalf of MACEOS. Tonight's forum is on business events. Business events are trade shows, consumer shows, conferences, and corporate events. The people who work in this industry includes conference, exhibition, and event organizers, convention centers, industry vendors, and suppliers. Our ecosystem also includes destination management companies, tour and travel agents, and hotel. Over 600 delegates have registered for tonight's event. Oh, I'm sorry. The latest number I got was 748. You are hoteliers, event organizers, conference organizers, exhibition owners, venue operators, suppliers, tour and travel agents, and we also have government agencies from the tourism and hospitality industry. Welcome, everyone. We have joining us tonight as well students from universities who are taking degrees in hospitality and tourism and are probably wondering about future jobs in our industry. This outbreak has shattered the very essence of our businesses. Businesses that thrives on human interactions and social gatherings. Post COVID-19, what will our industry look like? Will our faces be forever hidden behind masks? Today's webinar will focus on what our industries will look like post COVID-19 and how we can work together to prepare for a new future. A few housekeeping notes before we start. I have prepared some questions to ask our panel of experts for us to pick at their brains and experience. At the same time, we want to hear from you, our audience, and the questions you have for our panel. So we have a ready mobile number at the bottom of our screen where you can WhatsApp your questions to us. We will try to cover as many of those questions tonight as possible. Again, the focus of our webinar is post-COVID-19. We will only be able to take questions that are related to that topic due to the factor of time. Any questions about our current MCO and immediate impact will be discussed at other webinars. At the same time, your question might be a popular question, so it may not sound exactly like how you asked it, but it could have been asked by someone else already. So please pay attention. If you do not manage to answer your question during this webinar, we will try to get your questions answered by the panel later. So let's get started. This webinar is brought to you by MACEOS, together with our guests, Alive, Mata, and Ma. Our panel of experts tonight are Datuk Vincent Lim, President of MACEOS, which stands for Malaysian Association of Convention and Exhibition Organisers and Suppliers. Mr. Para Raja Gopal, Special Advisor of Alive, Arts, Live Festivals and Events Association. Mr. Muhammad Akil Muhammad Yusof, Deputy President of Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents. And Mr. Muhammad Halim Marikan, Board Member of Malaysian Association of Hotels. They are key opinion leaders in their respective field, and we are honored to have them with us tonight. Right now, we are all on day 22 of MCO, and everyone is acutely aware of the impact on our business due to this pandemic. However, let's hear from each of them about the impact of the outbreak from a business events industry perspective. Datuk Vincent, would you like to start first and share with us a bit about the impact that this has had on the BE industry in Malaysia?
Okay, thank you, Didi. Before I start on the questions one, I would like to take this opportunity to thank MACEOS COVID-19 task force. In fact, we formed a task force about 2-3 weeks ago, and also the moderator for tonight's sessions, Ms. Didi Kwa, did a wonderful job, and her team, and also to Jeannie from MACEOS Secretariat and her team as well for organizing this very first MACEOS webinar on the post-COVID-19. In fact, we just launched this since yesterday, and surprisingly, really exceed our expectation. I just heard from Didi mention that we have about 780 audience is joining us for this webinar. Thank you so much for all your joining us. Now, usually, this is the norm for most of the people having happy hour at this time at 9 p.m. If you back to the normal work days with your business associate. But during the MPO, we only can meet online. So I call this is like happy webinar hours. It's not happy hour, but I think happily we are enjoying this journey with all of you together. Okay, let me begin with the question one. I think clearly Didi did mention about what's BE all about. A business events means is a meeting, incentive, conventions, and exhibitions. We call it MICE. It's an important part driving the Malaysian economy forward. The event not only create a chain of positive financial impact of the exhibitions and the events organizer, professionals conference organizer, PCO, and venue operators, as well as other industry partners, or the whole ecosystem that include the stand contractor, event services provider, retail, F&B, logistic, hotelier, and inbound tour and etc. Just to share a little bit about what we have recorded for our survey. We have recorded about 1,014 business events were reported in 2018. And this business event contributed to a total of close to 50,000 international attendees for meeting, incentive, conference, and exhibitions. Also a total of 1/million local attendees for the same MICE industry. So you can foresee this is a big, B is a big contributor to the national GDP on the tourism industry. So estimated also about 11.3 billion, those are direct or indirect business dealing or sales or transacted were recorded through our survey in year 2018. And we foresee 2019 should be the positive figure. We are in the mid of compiling, and we'll share with everyone perhaps in the 1 or 2 months time. Yeah, thank you, Didi.
Thank you. Mr. Para, although business events is not the core business of Alive members, it is good for us to learn about the impact of the outbreak on your industry. Please share with us.
Thank you, Didi. Hi, hope everyone is safe and sound at home. And I'd like to thank Dato' Vincent for inviting Alive to be part of this webinar. And as we all know that we are trying to learn new technology and new ways to, be relevant at these unprecedented times. For the concert industry or live entertainment scene, we are equally impacted with what is going on, and because the very fact that social distancing is the biggest factor of this disease being spread easily in events. So we can't conduct our business as usual, and let's look at what kind of contribution actually events bring to the economy of Malaysia, or overall any economy around the world. If you come back to Malaysia, the labor force seems to be the biggest contributing factor, because manufacturing is 37%, agriculture 10% of the labor force, services is 53%. So lots of events contribute to these services: hotels, transport, suppliers, airlines. We've got sound and light suppliers, prop designers, and we also hire a lot of human-based professionals, from sound engineers, crew members, security. So the entire gig economy relies very heavily on events, and having this been taken away and stand still, there's going to be a big impact to the well-being of all these people in the industry. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Para. Mr. Akil, The tour and travel industry is part of our ecosystem. We feel the loss and struggles that you are all going through. Can you quickly share with us the economic size of your industry and how many percent of it is related to leisure tourism and how many percent of it comes from corporate travel and business events?
Thank you, Didi. Uh, Hello, everybody. I hope everybody stay safe, stay home. We'll have to go through a difficult time. Anyway, back to the question. We feel the travel agent business size is more than slightly more than 4 billion ringgit a year, and at the same time also it is more leisure than more corporate basically, due to we are receiving a lot of tourists to come in Malaysia. When COVID-19 started to come in November, in December, some of our members doesn't really feel the effect yet. But the most dramatic time is actually when China began the lockdown. When China began the lockdown, then all hell goes through out of the industry. And January, February, March, we practically lose a lot of business. Last time we have about 65% of leisure and 35% of corporate. But now I would say leisure up to probably less than 5%, and corporate is also probably less than 5%, as we see in the month of March. Okay, but we hope our members are resilient, and we can do it. We can go through this together, but we cannot go it individually. This is always our message to our members. So it is affecting us a lot, and we are. If you see in the market, we are making a lot of noise. Not that we are beggars or whatever, but we we have to, or else this industry will die. This industry will vanish from the tourism line. You know? So I think that is what our view on the industry for business event.
Thank you, Mr. Akil. Thank you very much for sharing, for your honest and very sincere sharing with us. Mr. Halim, your turn. How did the cancellations and postponements of business events impact on the hotels?
Okay, thank you, Didi. Before I start, I'd like to thank Dr. Vincent Lim for organizing this webinar. And also, I'd like to welcome all those who are listening in this evening. I hope you are safe at home and practicing and exercising social distancing at the moment. Yeah. Okay. For the hotel industry, basically, we actually did a quick survey, effective from January onwards and right up to March. Yeah. Basically, what we've seen, also forward bookings. Yeah. What we've done is we've done a calculation from March up to June. Okay, and that's based on the current MCO and the current global situation. As it stands, occupancy is below 25% and declining fast as well. Also, in terms of revenue, we are looking close or approximately 2.5 billion. 2.5 billion in terms of cancellation losses. Yeah, and that's up to June. Now, we don't foresee the situation to improve soon, and hence our members at the moment are actually now working out from June onwards up to at least September to calculate what the total loss impact, the impact to the industry. Yeah. I would like to take this opportunity also to thank the MAH Secretariat, our CEO, our board members, and all members who have provided us all this information so that we are able to bring this forward to the relevant authorities, the government, to indicate to them that how devastating this situation is. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Halim. To sum it all up, I was listening to what everybody has mentioned, and I'm looking at the losses that has been mentioned and what I'm aware as well for business events. It looks like between the four associations here, our industry has lost a total of 8 billion ringgit just in the last few months, and we are only in the beginning of April. So it's a very sobering thought. Business events is definitely a significant contributor to the to the economies of all countries around the world. It provides employment to a large number of our citizens, and with the loss of jobs, it has impacted hugely on many people, a lot of the rakyat. So that brings me to my next question. I would like to ask for your personal opinion. How long do you think it would take for our industry to recover from the impact of this outbreak? Dato, would you like to share first?
Yep. Thank you, Didi. I just want to add on, I missed this part on the BE industry cancellation and the postponement figure. Based on our survey as of mid of March, we've seen about 713 business event cancellations and 537 reported to be postponed. That also sum up to loss of income at 1.5 billion. This is a big, huge impact to us as of mid-March. And based on today, assume the number actually is already increased. We are still compiling this. Now, based on this number, I think the whole BE industry almost is on the shutdown mode. Totally stop. You can go for your happy hour now. Totally stop. And because at the moment you can't do anything, public health is more important. The country's border are closed. No international delegates can fly in or out, and no public events or public gathering are allowed during this MCO period, or even after MCO. Maybe I think they will still observe. So we are still very worried when the DG of MOH did mention, will consider to ban public events, even though after lifted on the MCO. I hope that won't happen, or I think we got to do something in order to overcome these situations. And we foresee it will take some time to recover, maybe 6 months, to see some recovery sign in Q3, maybe like end Q3, or by Q4, perhaps the situation will improve, but I think the business will still be growing slow. So bear in mind the industry and the whole ecosystem will not be the same like last time. I think it's business unusual. So we have to prepare and change our mindset. How can we retweet or reinvent our business into the new post-COVID-19? Yeah, I think that is part of the thing that we have to be aware of. Yeah, thank you, Didi.
Thank you. Mr. Raja, your turn.
Yes, I totally agree with what Dato has said, and I think I have kind of like understood this, that we have to basically now manage and navigate through this period of uncertainties. And I've prepared a short slide. If Alfred, you can pick out, yeah. So obviously we need to have a plan on how to mitigate the current situation, and either you need to cut your losses, or you need to cut your staffing, or you need to know how to manage your reserves at this point in time. And you need to accept help, and I think there's a lot of help being given out by the government. and we have to, also negotiate your OPEX, your rentals, your staff salaries. The key thing now is also regular communication with your core team members. How do we, find ways to still conduct or prepare for the future, for the recovery process. These are the times that you can train your staff, you can come up with the more improvement plans of your services. So you are not you're constantly engaged, and you have to keep engaged with the industry, speak to your associations, speak to the government bodies that are helping you, and like Dato Vincent said, you have to innovate and pivot. So these are the times where if you can find ways to start a different stream of revenues, you need to put your team together and see what are the resources you can use to start a new source of income. We have to work together with a recovery plan to be prepared when the entire ecosystem improves. And lastly, I think if we all come together and contribute to each other's survival, I think we will get through this. So this is the first phase of how we can navigate through COVID-19. And thank you, Alfred, for the slide. But the process of getting to the end of the tunnel is another, it's going to take an uncertain times, because firstly we need to contain the disease, and then we need to cope with the disease, and that's the time we need to have certain form of SOPs in events and in hotels and in venues, how we can conduct event during the coping period, and we can still conduct events safely, and that it won't become a cluster of spread for the diseases. We also need to build the confidence of the market, of the audience, of the government. So it's all the C's: contain, cope, build confidence, and then you might see some catch at the end of the tunnel to get back your business in order again. So I think that's my thought on how we can navigate this together. And we hopefully that this process will not take too long. We are also estimating the next 6 months, like maybe we'll be able to come back to business in October or November. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Para. That was very good. And I really like your slides. I took some notes down as you were speaking as well. Mr. Akil, what do you think?
Well, I think I will be a little bit more dramatic to some extent. That I would say the situation will improve, or will not back to the normality, but will improve from 12 months to 24 months from now. Simply because that, COVID-19, when it hits China, it doesn't hit other countries. And then slowly it goes to other countries, and simultaneously it goes to Malaysia. And also now, if you can see, it goes to Italy. Italy has, it's around at the same time now to UK and to US. So it will go the cycle, and it will eventually come to the whole wide world. Then, because of the different timing of every countries are facing COVID-19 to the maximum, therefore every countries, if they need 6 months to back to their own 2 feet, then the other countries also probably will need the same amount of time or more, right? So therefore I would say for us, we will look at it 12 months to 24 months period. Then the situation may be okay, but it will not go. I agree with Dato. I agree with Mr. Para. It will not go to the same. Even our special health advisor to the Prime Minister has said, Tan Sri Dr. Jamila has said that we will be totally different after COVID-19. Culturally, we will not shake hands. I don't know how we are going to face Ramadan and also Eid Fitri. We will not hug. Probably what you see in the internet, people are shaking hands by touching their feet. Maybe that will happen. So these are the reality that we have to think now. That and from there we have to devise, like what Mr. Paran said, we have to devise a plan. And we cannot work individually. Mata, we don't want to work individually. We want to work with other associations so that we can together come up with this situation and be the winner. And to do that, it's not easy because everybody has their own interests, their own priorities. But we feel that it can be done, inshallah.
Thank you, Mr. Akil. Mr. Halim, can we hear your thoughts?
I think I'm, you know, from Dato Vincent, Para, and Akil, it's obvious it will not be normal. Life will not be normal anymore. It's very hard to put your finger on when exactly COVID-19 will be is settled. Until and when normal is ascertained, it's a moving target. It's a moving target in the sense that people will always be cautious about traveling. People will be very cautious about even going out to a restaurant or to a public space, right? It's very hard to accept the fact that life won't be the same. The way we work won't be the same. The way we travel won't be the same. Hence, I think the topic tonight about mindset shift is hitting it on the nail, where everybody now needs to realize, especially for BE or any other business industries, any industries for that matter, it will never be normal again. The next time somebody says, I've got a flu, it's COVID-19. And then we know it's a very naughty virus. It starts to mutate. I think if I'm not mistaken, the US is on strain 5 or something like that now. Yeah. It's mutating. And it's very hard to accept the fact that the next time we do our work, we'll be from an office, right? I think what a lot of people have learned now is working at home or from home might be the way it is now. The way, for Akil to send contracts out or for Dato Vincent to want to try and negotiate a MACEOS, a conference to come into Malaysia, it's all going to be very, very difficult. And hence, as how Para said that, we need to now look at a plan, find the right plan of how we're going to move forward. Yeah. SARS took us about 8 months to recover. Yeah. SARS, we didn't have people just dropping and dying, right? So it's a very, very serious situation whereby we need to put our mindset right and start changing the way we do business from now. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Halim. Some very, very sound advice we heard there from that question. It looks like we are here for the long haul. And while some industries may be able to recover fast, for the travel and hospitality industry, definitely it will take a longer time to return. Okay. Our next question will be very interesting. Here, I'm asking you to look into your magic crystal balls and tell us what you think the future of our industry will look like post-COVID. What are some of the changes that we think that our respective industry will take post-COVID-19? Datuk, would you like to start again?
Okay, thank you, Didi. I foresee, I think after the MCO lifted, assume somewhere May or whatever, I think we don't have to straight away jump to organize our own events, because we have to be very cautious and follow what guideline from MOH. And also we assume maybe the next, after lifted, the next 3 months, that you have to be cautious and take one step at a time to observe the situation. And for the Q3 or Q4, God's feelings, maybe, I mentioned earlier, hopefully situation a little bit better, then I think we can start to organize the events. Based on my observation and understanding, there is a lot of events have been postponed to end Q3 or Q3 and Q4, because whatever postponements from the Q1 and Q2 now all jam up at the Q4, even though during Christmas, even though during New Year Day, full of events. Foresee this will happen, and things definitely will be different until we found a vaccine. And previously, when in the exhibition industry or any business event, the more is merrier for us. You love to see your crowded walkway full of industry trade visitors, buyers, a lot of busy what they call atmospheres in the networking, hustle bustle, or the business dealing. We are very happy to see a good turn-up in the exhibition, whether it's a trade or consumer. But comes to post COVID-19, this will going to change. Maybe less is a must. If the social distancing apply, less is a must. I think we have to prepare ourselves by staying in tune with the listed development, whether imposed by some SOP or guideline by MOH. That's why MACEOS also take the initiative to liaise with the government or MOH, that we plan to work out a SOP or guideline for post-COVID-19 business events handbook. That's the purpose why we formed this MACEOS COVID-19 task force. And I share my own research. I just want to share with the audience. Previously, when you have a 9 square meter, you love to see pack of buyers or packs of visitors inside your booth. Due to the code, what they call social distancing policy, maybe I think it might allow maximum up to 4 or 5 packs of whether visitor and exhibitor per 9 square meter in your particular booth. I think we got to prepare that going to change. And maybe I think the walkway previously minimum requirement about 2.5 meter, whether you might want to reconsider the widen the walkway to 4 or even though 5 meter, so that I think you still have some spacing. I think this one is based on my research that we get from CDC of USA, they mean from Center of Disease Control. Also, I did my own research. The China, they have their first exhibitions on after the post COVID-19 somewhere last week. It's based on what I understand that they didn't make a change on the walkway, but they limit the numbers of visitors enter to the hall. Visitor need to like pre-register. Based on per day, a certain numbers of visitors only allowed in the hall. I think this is a different scenario, no longer crowded, packed, shoulder touch shoulder, so that kind of scenario. So we have to prepare, but I think another thing, whether less is must, maybe less is go. Go means it's a quality one. Then hopefully our business is still can jalan. Yeah, that's my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk Vincent. Mr. Para?
Yes, I think Dr. Vincent has, came up with some good pointers and advice how we can start doing business post COVID by having a health screening protocol for events and managing the from actually how do we clean the venues, how do we clean the seats, how do we organize the seating arrangements, the contact point with human like usherers. I think we need to like kind of eliminate it, or all using more machines, or more technology. And I think data collection has become a very important factor now, because we need to find everybody who is now basically infected or non-infected. So I think there's a lot of technology, tracking technology, that need to be kind of all put together to actually present to the authorities and also the public, and this is the only way we can actually mitigate our business and come back to business sooner. But having said that, live events business is a, especially music and concerts, it's a celebration of human talent, and people are going to be shouting and screaming and enjoying themselves. So it'll be quite restrictive to have a mask on, and so there's a lot of culture change that we need to bring about if we don't find the vaccine sooner, or so it's a lot of moving pieces for us. But like what Dato said, that like all the other industry need to come in first and start moving, and then our business, especially live events, concerts, it's down on the non-essential, lower than the non-essential part of it. So it will take a while for us, for concerts to come back in the scale that we usually do. But we can start off doing smaller events, 250 packs, comedy shows, so, and we can organize it with all the protocols there. So these are some of the ideas we are working together with our members and partners and all that. So hopefully we be able to convince the authorities that we can conduct an event safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Para. Mr. Akil, may we hear from you?
Thank you, Didi. Can I have my slide on? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I feel post-COVID-19 is going to portray. You look at the tourism and leisure, we are the last and we are the biggest potential loser, being away from the turning point, which is oil and gas. And you can see here, basically aviation is also close to us and automotive is also close to us. These are the two segments that also going to help tourism, are part of tourism and leisure segment. So post-COVID, what I can say is that we are the biggest loser. And you look at now, which is already showing the medical supplies, food processing and retail, personal health care, and even IT. I think IT will go very, very far after COVID-19 because of the social distancing between everyone. And I'm also not surprised, because this is what happened when my son came back from Europe. We have passengers who wear the special uniform, the PPE, the PPE that is used by the frontliners. They wear that on board of the plane. And also, when we talk about social distancing, aviation, how do airline wants to segregate the seat? You can, if Airbus 330, you have 242 seating capacity in the economy class. So now probably you have only one person to sit in the two chairs of every two chairs. So they will carry less. And what does it mean? It means that to travel it will cost you more money. This will happen, this will be a scenario until the confidence, like what Mr. Raj said, so the confidence level increase, then people will go back to the normal thing. That's why I was in the beginning saying that it takes about 12 to 24 months to go back, probably not 100% the same thing that we have pre COVID-19, but at least we are coming to the nearest that we do. And mind you, tourism was the second income contributor for Malaysia, right? And what happens after COVID-19? We are the last. We are not the second, we are not the third, but we are the last. So this is the difficult thing for us to swallow, but this what we feel is going to happen, and that's why Mata we want the government to realize this and to give their best support to us. We are the industry that is going to be affected most. Hotels, travel agents, convention centers, and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akil. Mr. Halim?
Okay. After listening to the three panels, yes, it is going to be very, very tough. Yeah, it's going to be very tough, but not totally impossible. I think we need to reach out now to all partners. Yeah, in this case for BE, business events. As how Mr. Akil says, the impact on travelers is going to take 12 to 24 months. How do we manage, or how do we do a huge conference or exhibition and we have to control the number of people entering the venue? Normally, exhibitions might be a week. Do we extend it to 10 days in order to meet up with the demand of those people who wants to visit? We as hoteliers, and also Mr. Akil, even Dato' Vincent, we go to trade shows which used to be 3 to 4 days, which are now cut down to 2 days. And it's all because of costs. The increase in costs. When there's an increase in cost, there's a reduction in participants, right? So from the hotel standpoint, the first point that we got to look at is the post-COVID would be staffing. To date, there has been 3 categories of staffing for the industry that has taken place. One is those who are still working, those that are on partial pay, and those who are on unpaid or who are away on leave. Yes, we have gotten government support to cover the payroll costs, which in any industry is the highest cost, right? So at the end of the day, it's about the perception of large gathering, a perception of large number of people traveling, which will impact the industry, the hotel industry or any industry in BE. Yeah. So for the hoteliers, I believe we have to realign our segments. We have to realign and review our channel of how the business are coming in. We have to realign the geographical business. Where are they coming from? When we had SARS, we were looking at domestic for at least 6 months, and then we opened up to regional travel 2 months after, and so forth, before we started looking at long haul. And even with long haul, there are a lot of skeptical travelers who say that is it safe to come to Malaysia? Is it safe to come to Southeast Asia? So Tourism Malaysia and Ministry of Tourism has come forward and said that there are some strategies that have put in place, mainly starting again with domestic market, you know. So this may help the hoteliers, this may help the rooms being filled up, this may help the restaurants being occupied with the seats being occupied. But in terms of BE, business events, that's gonna be a bit difficult. Yeah.
Challenge.
Again, as I said, it's not totally impossible. The day will come back where social gathering is gonna be required. There will be a day where we're gonna have to get together and start doing business again, business relations, partnerships. Yeah. But at the meantime, I think the mindset shift that has to take place is that for the industry to really, really look again at from inside, from within the business, and looking out. Survival is about looking at what's happening inside your own business, how you are using what is available, technology, manpower, resources, contacts, networking, right? And then moving into that direction. I think when we sum all the three panels points put together as what I'm also saying, I think this is a mindset shift that we have to agree upon that this is the situation it's going to be for now, for the next 8 to 12 months. So my advice, the way I look at things is realign your segments, realign your channels of business, realign the type of business that you're going to come with or you're going to get, and then look from within, looking out to improve your business. Yeah, thank you, Didi.
Thank you to our four panel speakers. It sounds like we actually have a lot of work to do. In fact, it's not really a break for our industry. During the MCO time, I'm sure many of us are actually having a lot of sleepless nights thinking about our business, how to pivot it, and how to reform the businesses. So all the advice that you shared there, very useful. And I hope that a lot of our viewers tonight will take a lot of notes and have something to work with. We'll come to the next question. And we have actually been receiving a whole lot of questions that are coming in. The questions are coming in nonstop. It's good. Where it's good to know that these questions are coming in. And actually, for our viewers, a lot of the questions you're asking us, we will be covering as we go along. So please be patient. Your question or the topic that you're asking about will come up. Okay, so we are answering questions from the audience in between the questions that I'm repeating right now. Okay, someone asked, how do we come together as an industry to overcome this challenging period? Perhaps for this question, we would like to ask Mr. Halim first, and then followed by Mr. Akil, then Mr. Para, and finally Dato' Vincent.
Well, thank you, Didi. I think the first step is we cannot be greedy. Let's be honest to ourselves that in the tourism industry, in the hospitality industry, in the business events industry, we need each other. We need to sit down together and come to a point and agree to say that it's everybody's business. The pie is there, and we need to share this pie equally. I mean, at the end of the day, when we talk about BE businesses where there's MICE involved, Dato' Vincent's team or even yourself, Didi, your company would go and meet up with the travel agent, you go and meet up with, Para's team to get the entertainers, you'll talk to us hoteliers, you'll talk to the airlines to try and bring in 3, 4, 5,000 people to move them into a city like Kuala Lumpur or Malaysia, even for Kuching or Sabah. Everywhere there's a convention center. And there's still convention centers being built in Malaysia, right? So we need to share that pie. We need to be able to compromise with with the stakeholders on. You cannot have everything. We need to have some. You need to have some. Let's split this up and let's be fair to everybody. It needs to be a fair playing game, a fair playing field whereby you are able to now work together, sit down and say, this is what I need. Dato Vincent or somebody from the MICE or what do you call it, the travel agent, the wholesalers, Akil, they might go and they try to bid for a conference to come to Malaysia. And that's a lot of money that has to be laid out before. And the conference may only come into Malaysia maybe 3 to 4 years after. But the capital needs to come out now in order for you to bid for that huge conference, right? So we need to be fair and we need to go to the PCOs or the DMCs and say that, okay, I'm willing to give so many room and this is the specific rates I can offer, right? And they should be able to know that I can accommodate 4,000 people, right? They should be able to know that Mata, through the ground handling, is able to provide me the coaches. Sorry, I'll repeat that. Mata may need to come up with the coaches. So that pie needs to be shared, and we need to work together towards this one common goal. It's not about MACEOS or Alive or Mata or Ma. It's about Malaysia being a destination. We lose out a lot to Singapore, to Thailand, right? To Jakarta now, and even to Manila. We lose out because we don't make Malaysia as a destination first. Once you achieve Malaysia as a destination and people know that, hey, there are lots of things to do in Malaysia. Logistically, they are fine. Infrastructurally, they are fine, right? Technology, they are fine. Accommodation, we've got all level of accommodation, 3, 4, 5, right? They have choices. So moving forward, this is what we need to do. Yeah, working together, jointly, one common goal, making Malaysia a destination first before we move into talking about your business, my business. Yeah, hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, it's really good, and a lot of hope in there in that message as well. Mr. Akil?
Yes. Thank you, Didi. I totally agree with Mr. Halim. In order for us to bring in the tourists back, that we need to work together. I remember those days when Tan Sri Abdul Kadir, Sheikh Abdul Kadir, he was the tourism minister. We opened up India market. We were losing big time with Singapore during that time. Singapore was having about 27 flights a week. We are only having about 9 flights a week. So Singapore has 3 times flights a week. So what we did that we went there, we worked hard, we go to 7 cities in 10 days. Hard marketing, hard canvassing, and hard trying to gain the momentum back to our country. But there are another factor that we have to look at, which is COVID-19. The social distancing is quite dominant. The fact, you see, I would say probably people will come. There will not be staying 2% in a room or 3% in a room in order to cut costs. Probably everybody will stay single. Okay, so that is one of the things that is going to increase the cost. The other thing that I mentioned just now is the flight. Well, last time airlines are enjoying with 80% load factor, 90% load factor during peak period, but during post COVID-19, it will be probably 50% or 40%. So they have to find out a way how to reduce further their cost, at the same time not to increase too much, or else you will put people off. Okay. The other thing that I would say is that the government, the private sector have to be a same team. A same team. We have to work together. Okay. This can be done in terms of domestic tourism. How can we do that? A lot of our companies has contributed to HRDF. Right? When HRDF, they have the funds. So HRDF funds is to do training and make this training mandatory only in Malaysia for the next 1 year. Do not allow anybody to do the training overseas. Use all the local content, the local expertise, the local teachers, or the local person who are knowledgeable. Use them, and then use the travel agent. Use the hotel, 3, 4, or 5 star hotel. Use the conference hall. Everything we do it domestically. If you are afraid to travel, then if you are staying in KL, go by land. Right? That way, I think it will help the industry to to survive in the beginning, before we can go further away to attract uh, the international event to come in. I mean, we would like to see the international event to come in immediately after Malaysia is certified COVID-19 free, right? But the main thing is that whether the social distancing is still a mandatory during that time. It's very, very difficult to imagine this kind of thing. So I feel in order to, what Mata feel is that basically we echo what Mr. Khalid from MAS saying, that we have to work together as a team, and government also have to be our team. Government cannot see us as the enemy or the people who are making a lot of problem to them. No, 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 please. This is a crisis. We have to sit down together and engage more, and make sure that we come out as a winner. And that is easy said than done. Believe me, we have been to SARS, we have been to Japanese, what do you call it, Japanese, the one that is all these diseases we have been to, we have go through. But COVID-19 is totally different. Totally different. They have so much thing that we have to consider. Therefore, we have to put our ego in the pocket, put it in the pocket, and meet up with everybody and try to make things happen. Things happen for the travel agent, things happen for the hoteliers, things happen for the concert, things happen for the exhibition hall, a venue, right? And who is going to be the people who's going to gain this? Is the government, through sales tax, through income tax, through this one. So government has to think that way. Government has to understand their role, because 30%, or sorry, 25% of our business, if we make money, belongs to them in terms of taxes. So they must make sure that we survive. We cannot just put, oh, cannot, sorry. But I agree, there will be casualty. We have to accept casualty. And who is going to be the casualty? That I cannot say. I leave it to God to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akil. That was a very strong and compelling proposition that you put out there. And I hope that our government is listening as well, because as you rightly pointed out, they are part of the team. Mr. Para, we'd like to hear from you next.
Yes, I think um, we are already working together as a team. I mean, this webinar is already a statement that we are working together. The industries come together as the frontline medical people are trying to save lives. We are here trying to save. We are the frontliners trying to save our industry. So I think there's, from the stories that Akil and Halim was telling us, I think there's some incredible stories, and we are very resilient throughout all the chapters of all the diseases that we've gone through. I believe that if we have the personalities in the industry, we have the incredible characters like Dato Vincent and all that. I don't see we failing to come back from this. I think we like what we have to do now is work together and with one common goal without now the priority, like what Encik Halim said, is Malaysia. If we put that common goal together and work together towards it, we all will come out of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farah. Dato'.
Thank you, Didi. I absolutely agree with the three panels, especially Encik Halim talking about Malaysia is the preferred being the destination. I think it's a good thing. I think we have to look forward, like what Mr. Para mentioned. Hopefully, the Minister of Motec is watching us and hear something from the industry players. It's also good if there is a chance, perhaps maybe we can suggest to the Motec or the Minister. I don't know whether they already formed. It's just to have a recovery task force committee that insists on the industry representatives to advise and work together with the ministry. How can we overcome this COVID-19 as short as possible? I think if you're talking about 1 year, 12 months, or 24 months, that will be a big damage to the economy. So a lot of industry players are not able to sustain for so long. Because for the first 2 months, we already hear a lot of news from the SME, even though through our member survey. It's a very scary report that some, even though mentioned between 4 months, I think we can see 50-60% of the company got to wind up. I think that will be a very scary, and we try to support each other because all of us is in the same boat. So we have to support each other, because when there's an event or when there is a business event back to normal, we still need all these industry players or our partner to work together again. And we know, I think we hear from everyone, I think we forget about international event in the midterms. Long term, I think 1 year, I hope maybe we'll start to coming back. So I wish more local homegrown events can be organized, so that at least there is like Mata, I think the Cuti Malaysia. So on the business event, I think we still can focus on the domestic market. Local homegrown event is to start to nurture the homegrown event from small. I think it will be grow into the regional, and one day it become an international event. I think MySet people is also with us today. I think they can know how important of the promoting or nurture the homegrown event for the benefit of the nations. So I think before we end, I also wish on behalf of all the organizers, whether it's a PCO or PEO, exhibition organizer, we wish, or I hope the venue operator can relook and reconsider the hall rental package could be more flexible during the post-COVID-19 period, assumed for this year or for 2021, so that there is a flexible, and your contribution, you play a role. I think forever people will remember, because you help the industry player, the small and the medium events organizer, PCO, exhibition organizer, to sustain their business, let their small event continue to kickstart, to run. In fact, I think we don't think about making money for this year. If we can sustain for this year, I think that is already a plus point. So from there, before I end, I urge maybe all industry players will agree with me that we have to work together, not only among the MACEOS members. We wish, I think it's a good start for today, all the 4 captain of the industry that we are here for this webinar. I think it's a good sign in the future that we can work even closer and create a better synergy among our industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato'. Thank you everyone for that session. It looks like, as you all say, for us to recover, we start first by looking inwards, by working together, by building up the foundation of our industry again from within, and then we'll be strong to attract the international guests and international tourists once more. Moving on, we've already reached 10 o'clock, which is our 1 hour, but I think we have so many questions coming in still. So perhaps with everyone's permission, we can go on for another half an hour. Is that
No
okay?
problem.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
No
thank
problem.
you.
Sulaiman.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing
So,
to do.
nothing to do. Okay, well, quite a number of the questions coming in are about technology. So, how is our industry able to use technology to adapt? Gentlemen, I came across this post. Alfred, would you mind to share it? So, this is very apt. Who led the transformation of your company, digital transformation of your company? Okay, Alfred, can we go back to our screen, please? Thank you. So, perhaps I'll ask, would anyone like to tackle this question first?
Okay, I start first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think technology at the moment, I think, this play a very important role for everyone. You just imagine if we do not have this webinar, we don't have a Zoom meeting, if during the MCO period, we really we have nothing to do, right? I think that is proven technology will help to see how our business will still continue. And a lot of people are still talking in like industry, all talking about whether the virtual exhibitions, whether it's the online exhibition, and how to digitize your business event so that you still stay active. And because of the younger generation, earlier that we taught, because of their more IT savvy, but I think because of the because of the COVID-19, this become a very important tool for us to reinvent our business event. In short, I think to reinvent into this business tool is a must for me, I think, whether it's a midterm or for long term into the business. Because I remember I attended one CEO summit in Shanghai in 2018, was invited as a panelist. You remember someone is presenting, is talking about the exhibition 2.0. Seems, I think, because of this COVID-19, it will help the industry to achieve the exhibition 2.0 faster. I think we foresee whether that is fortunate or unfortunately, but I think it's unavoidable. It's already must. Like I just wanted to share, like human body, you have, if not mistaken, I think you got 200. Assume it's 250 pieces of bone. With the modern technology, there is 251 pieces of bones. Another pieces is whether it's your laptop or it's your mobile phone. It's always attached with you. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato'.
Yeah.
Mr. Para, would you like to go next?
Yeah. I think not everything negative came out of COVID. I think COVID has, got us to think out of the box, got us out of the comfort zone, got us together to think a solution where we have to use technology at this point in time. So, technology is how we're going to reshape and re-innovate our business. For the live events, we've been doing a lot of streaming concerts already before, but now it's going to look like people are going to expand it and find ways to monetize it as well. And so it's part of and parcel of how we have to adapt and also find ways to improve our business through technology. So we all as a company need to have a team, or or the leaders of your business need to lead this quite seriously not only during a crisis, but throughout your business. So we'll be ready for the next crisis, you know. So I think that's the key taking from what I can share with the viewers and the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Farah. Mr. Akil.
Well, for Mata, we are doing something about technology, and I think COVID-19 will make us to accelerate our intention to have our own platform for our members. Actually, we have just launched it last year, and I feel that we did not get a lot of good support, but out of this COVID-19, I'm sure now, Maho, MACEOS, Alive, and all other association or industry which is relevant to tourism, we definitely want to work together to make sure that our platform, which is we build it for our members, it can work, it can help to bring back the business that we lost during COVID-19. Uh, and technology is also the answer to the future of the business in tourism and also probably in other industry. Yeah. So we have to embrace, even though I am not really well versed in technology, but what Mr. Para said to me this morning, I have to embrace it. So whether you like it or not, whether you are 20 years old company, owner of a 20 years company or 30 years old company or 5 years old company or even 1 years old company, technology is the answer in travel industry. And technology does really works and it does really bring the business. So the fastest way to earn your dollar and cent is also through technology. So what to do? We have to embrace. We have to what uh, orang tua-tua cakap, tidur makan dengan teknologi. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a new hashtag for me to learn. Tidur makan dengan technology. That's a good one. Thank you, Mr. Akil. Mr. Halim, we would like to hear from you.
Okay, I believe I have a slide for this one with regards to technology. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, technology and the hospitality industry, it's not something new. We've been embarking and using technology for our business for a long time now, actually. Yeah. In fact, we sometimes forget that Y2K was 20 years ago, and all that commotion with regards to Y2K, and that's already technology being used. Yeah. So, we will continue. We will continue to use technology and we will continue to enhance our operations using technology to make it easier for our customers, for our guests. Yeah. However, in the hotel industry, we cannot compromise the personalized service. It's a perceived expectation by our customers when they come to hotel to receive such personalized service, right? I mean, now we talk about checking in using your credit card and using kiosks and all that. Yeah. So those are just enhancement, but you still need the people behind it. And as we already spoke earlier about manpower being the most expensive component or most expenditure for operation, we need to maintain the staff. We need to maintain but however, we need to train them to be more multitasking. We need to train them to be able to use a lot of the technology to help with their daily task, right? And definitely e-commerce platforms and social media, that is definitely going to be used even a lot more now, if it's not already being used a lot. Yeah. But the interesting part about technology will be the technology for marketing. I think we'll be using a lot more now since we are realigning our market, our segments, realigning our channels and geographical origin of business. The technology for marketing will come in very largely. Yeah. And lastly, technology for culinary and F&B team and the rooms operation. We're gonna have to start thinking about investing. I do understand some companies do provide hire purchase arrangements for equipment in the kitchen to be a little bit more technical or technology driven, right? This will actually again enhance the production of food or culinary, but at the same time it allows staff to be a little bit more multitasking. Yeah. I used to joke with my son to say that nowadays hotel school, you need to learn to push a button, right? As opposed to what I did 30 odd years ago, where everything was manual, right? But at the end of the day, that's the real life now. That's the real thing now. So technology, this is the direction we need to go. Yeah. And as Dato said, webinar, here we are, right? Video conferencing, but the important thing to realize now, moving forward and changing our mindset is conferences will be smaller for the time being. Convention centers will probably, have difficulties trying to fill up all their 10,000, 20,000 square feet or, square meter halls. I think this is where, when I say earlier about working together, is basically talking about MACEOS and PMCs and PCOs and DMCs to now come back to hotels, because we do have ballrooms, we do have banquet halls to cater to the smaller meetings, smaller conferences. So that's one of the meaning when I say work together, right? It's nice to be in the convention centers, but at the same time, we do have facilities as well. However, from the standpoint of a hotelier, I think a lot of our facilities need to upgrade. And their upgrading needs to come into the technology part of things, the state-of-the-art technology, equipments nowadays. Without that, even the hoteliers will have a lot of difficulties matching up to the demands of the participants, demands of organizers. So again, changing the mindset, this is something that hoteliers need to bring themselves forward and start looking at state-of-the-art equipments to cater to business events. Yeah, I think that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Halim. I think that was a really good. You gave some really really good points, and at the end of the day, technology will be a key driver across all industries. We just need to adapt, and we need to adopt technology. If we do not, then we'll be left behind. Another very popular topic that everyone has been asking a lot of questions on is safety measures. What type of safety measures do you see that your members will put into place to minimize the spread of COVID-19, even though we have a vaccine? It may be 12 months to 18 months before we will get the vaccine here, and to build confidence in returning customers such as tourists, corporate clients, and show delegates. So what type of safety measures? That's what they would like to know. Dato' Vincent, do you want to start first?
Okay. Thank you, Didi. As a professional exhibition organizer, I think we have to put our visitor or exhibitors or our staff, their health is the first priority that for us to take. Whether you like it or don't like it, I think it's a must for the post-COVID-19 business event. And I foresee post-COVID-19, after all these venue operator and show organizers, I think we have to look into the hygiene facilities. I think that is unavoidable that we have to go. Example, that you need to have your face mask, hand sanitizer, temperature screening and sanitizing tunnel. This is one of our members have been sharing with us that they have been invented into using the shell skim system, and then they also spraying out the like a mist fan that you for walk through the tunnel so that you can cleanse your body. Same thing, I think also the social distancing policy had to apply, so reduce crowding and also practice social distancing as what the government enforced at 1 meter away, and assume per human. I think this is only my internal research together with my team. Per human assume is about 4 square meter, left and right, front and back, that you require 4 square meter per visitors. If you are taking, let's say, 10,000 square meter, 10,000 square meter means like assume hall 1 to hall 5 of Kuala Lumpur Convention Center. So between the 10,000 square meter, that means maximum you might want only allow 2,500 visitors enter to the hall at one time. This is just only my own assumptions. And no more shake hand. You just imagine when you're doing business, you no more handshake, no high five when they sign the contract. And all this, I think we got to slowly adapt into this kind of new business practice. Even though like registration, those were the day I think you like to see people are queuing at your registration counter because of the social distancing policy. I think you have to be innovative. I think try to avoid that kind of queuing. Even though it's underwater, I think you still need to put a box or guide the distance. And a lot of changes are happening after or post COVID-19. So we just have to prepare ourselves, mindset change. Just want to share with you all, I think Jakarta yesterday just announced the Gojek. I think everyone know Gojek is like a motorbike taxi. Because of the COVID-19, the Gojek services no longer allowed to carry passengers. Now Gojek become like another only food delivery service allowed. So you can imagine, I think a lot of things will be changed into the exhibitions or into the conference. So I think we put our stakeholder, delegates, exhibitor, visitor of their health is a #1 criteria. I think we can do something for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. Mr. Para?
I think Dr. Vincent covered most of the key health screening at the venues, and I think usually it was security screening before for events. So now there's another layer which is health screening. There also talks about actually testing people for COVID-19 before they enter the venue. So these are the measures that people are talking about around, and we on our side we are already sending out surveys to our ticket buyers and our fans who usually come for concerts and all that, is how do they see themselves going to events in the next 6 months? What kind of behavioral changes that they can adapt to? So we are coming back to, we are putting back these questions to the public, so we will understand them better, so we will be better prepared when we are designing the SOPs and how we can because the only thing that we can fight this with is human behavior now. Social distancing, cleanliness, and this is the only weapons we have now to fight this disease. Because although there are trial medications to cure people, to not cure, is to basically mitigate their health currently, but we have to really look into the behavior of our attendees, our employees, the venue employees, so how I think that is what is going to give the confidence for people to come back to events. So I think these processes are very important to be implemented and shown to be implemented very, very seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Akil?
Well, health and safety is the most important thing for human nowadays, especially after COVID-19. So you just imagine, I just thinking of taking you all through the process of we bringing in the exhibitor or the visitor of the exhibitor to a hotel. Okay, so there will be a temperature screening at the airport, and then before they board the bus, our driver will also do. We have to do the temperature screening as well. At the same time, also the guests will also want to know whether the driver is okay or not. Then the guest will also do the temperature to the driver. I mean, we can see this is going to be uh, very funny sometimes to some extent, but this is the measure that we need to do to some extent. I read something that in Italy the doctor find out that why the cases are still very growing up is because they wear shoes. The virus stay in their shoes. They wear shoes in their houses. So they did not clean
Think that
up the
one.
shoes, clean up the body, the shirt they wear, the trousers, but the shoe they left it. They did not do it properly. So that's why the virus spread easily in Italy. So what does it mean? It means that it really value the safety and the health of our visitor and exhibitors. We have to do way beyond our imagination that what we are doing now. We have to do something like what I said, the driver of the bus also you need to do. And then social distancing in the bus, probably 4 seat, one person. If a bus with 40 seats, you can only carry 10 people. So what does it mean? It means more trips have to be done, to go to the exhibition center, and what will happen? More cost will happen, more cost will incur to do
Yes.
this. So this is the small things that I see that the industry has to understand as a whole. That's why, in order for us to be a team player, yes, Dato, you are right. You will tell your MACEOS members that try to reduce the price so that we can attract them. The same goes with Alif, Mr. Farah, your artists. Probably they cannot earn as much as what they do because all these savings actually will come and throw into the expenditure that they will spend on safety, on health screening, and all the other
Exactly.
things that required after COVID-19. So this, I don't know how much is it going to be, but something very interesting for us to discover. And I
Yeah.
think our Ministry of Health is looking into it, is learning how to do this. And I think sooner or later we will know what we need to do and how we want to do it. And mind you, probably if we were to do this, we may be the example country in the whole world. Then that will increase the confidence of the visitor, international especially, that they know that they can do the conferencing, the exhibition in Malaysia because we are very, very detailed in our health screening, in the safety of the exhibitor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Akil. Mr. Halim, we'd like to hear your wise
Okay.
words.
I do have a slide for this, Didi. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Um, Even during the pre-pandemic situation, our hotels have started with stringent sanitization practices for both staff, guests, and also to the suppliers and vendors. Yeah, I think what we have to realize now is that how Previously, we were doing businesses when the suppliers deliver the items to the loading bay, the receiving guy receives it, and then he takes it to the storeroom or sends it to the department directly. As how we are doing with our own groceries nowadays at home, we will have to sanitize these items. We will have to leave it outside for a period of time in order for the virus which may be coming into contact with these items to disappear. And only then we will be delivering these items to the store or to the departments. So that by itself, has already changed the way we are normally doing things. Yeah. We talk about sanitization of the staff and guests, but I think as we know, there are a lot of ways how the virus can come in contact with us. As Mr. Akil say, in Italy, they realized it was actually the shoes that they were wearing indoors. So these are areas that the hotels will have to start practicing as well. Apart from the fact of daily sanitization of rooms, public areas, yeah, those are all the things that is currently being done. There will be an increase in this area of care for our guests, our staff. Yeah. But one very major and important thing that, as the association has discussed, and currently we are looking into this in depth, is actually reviewing our SOPs and policies to address matters that concern safety and security. We are encouraging hotels which has got an OSHA committee or a hygiene department to review all their current SOPs and policies and start implementing and enforcing it. Yeah, it's about education at the end of the day. We need to instill proper hygiene and sanitization exercises with our staff, even with our guests. Um, Many hotels have foreign workers. In fact, not only our industry, many other industries have foreign workers. It could be the security guards and all that. Education for these people is very, very important about hygiene, about how they used to just, spit on the floor or whatsoever. Yeah, I won't go into details with that. But all these are potential issues that can cause the virus to spread, right? At the same time, frequent monitoring of staff who may show signs of illness, to have them immediately checked up, and if quarantine is required or if they need to go home. A lot of staff in the past or even currently, if they have a slight fever, if they have flu, they still come to work. I think again the education needs to be applied here, whereby they need to understand that if you are not well, you need to go to the doctor. Yeah, that also applies to the management. They need to also understand that your staff may be having a slight flu. They need to be going to the doctor, and the doctor may give them an MC. So again, multitasking comes into play, whereby you should be able to operate should somebody needs to go or be relieved for a medical situation. Yeah. And lastly, when we look at daily sanitization of rooms and public areas, restaurants, as I mentioned earlier, currently gloves, chef's hats, are the requirements. But nowadays, I think we're gonna have to include the mask for all culinary workers in order for them to be able to be, to make sure that hygiene and the safety of food handling is done. Training companies who are conducting food handling courses need to also review their SOPs or the training materials that they're providing to make sure that they cover this sort of topic, especially about sanitization and hygiene. Yeah. So I think this is the way moving forward, shifting the mindset of employees. If employees are able to conduct this, then they should also be able to share this with customers. And that is where the perceived confidence will come back in if we are all able to do this, right? So I think this is something that changing the mind or shifting the mind is important with regards to post-COVID. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Halim. We have a question here. Maybe Dato, you might want to take this question. It's by one of our guest viewers, Francis. You have touched on collaboration, but have you guys worked on a platform for us to come together? Independent players like us won't have the resources to do so.
I think the associations is play a important role to connect the industry players together, and especially during the crisis, sometimes like individual voice is difficult to hear by relevant ministry or agency. If you really know, I think please join us, whether it's a members of the MACEOS or to understand us more, or let us know you more and see how actually we can work together. We are looking forward how to connect the industry player together so that we can have more louder voice. At the same time, also we also want to work closely with the relevant BE industry associations in Malaysia. At the same time, also regionally and internationally, MACEOS also play a very proactive role to affiliated with the Africa, is the Asia Federations of Exhibitions and Convention Associations. The same goes to the UFI, ICA, and all these international bodies, so that we're able to learn and to share, so that we learn from each other. So please talk to us and or talk to Jeannie. We always can keep in touch again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato.
Didi, may I add to this point
Yes.
on this
Yes,
question?
Mr. Halim. The floor is yours.
It's come back to technology, right, Dato? You know, I mean,
Yes.
I know there are some countries that actually do it, and it's almost like a bidding process, whereby if the PCOs or DMCs requires X number of rooms, X sort of services required to work from travel agent, you know, it's a platform whereby one can go in and MACEOS, for instance, will say, okay, we are bidding for a exhibition or something 3 years down the road. This is what we require, and as MACEOS members, we are able to then go onto the platform and actually put in our biddings, right? And I think this is again what we say moving forward and talking about technology. Suppliers for raw materials, we are using technology. I'm looking for 20 kilos of tomahawk beef. I go into the system, and only some suppliers do carry this item. Not every supplier carry this item. So whoever has it puts in a bid, and I'll go to the best bidder. Similar, I think this is where technology will help when it comes to talking about connecting everybody together.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Halim. That's a very good point, coming in from a different perspective, but very relevant today in today's discussion as well. Thank you. So our final question, we've already gone past our half an hour, and this is I think is very important. Is there any final advice for our viewers? Actually, there is also a question from the fresh graduates too. Do we have any advice for fresh graduates? So maybe we'll take this as the final question from everyone tonight. Mr. Halim, would you like to start first?
Okay, I'll cover the question by the fresh graduate. I think it comes back to my opening statement, that this is the real world. This is real. Situations like this can happen. We don't know what else will come in the future. What sort of pandemic? What sort of virus? What sort of virus that can come in the future? As many of those who are aspiring to join, any industry, to graduate and get a job, I mean, we need to realize that, you got to start somewhere. You got to build up your exposure, your experience, and understand whatever industry that you want to come into, to clearly understand that things like this can happen. And when this sort of thing happens, how do I cope with it? All right. So, no doubt, as Mr. Akil said, we may be in the different league in terms of technology savvy, but it is our duty. But it's our duty to learn it, to be at par with whatever that's happening current. Yeah. So I think that's what I could say with regards to the fresh graduate. And as a parting message to everybody, I think let's minimize the spread. Um, Follow what the government is doing. I mean, we get a lot of messages on our WhatsApp and any other social media. Again, some are real, some are fake, some can work, some cannot work. So at the end of the day, I think we need to use our own judgment and our own common sense to just contain the spread and reduce the curves. Hope life come back as possible. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Akil?
Well, whatever comes down will always comes up back. Whatever comes down, whatever loss, there's always an opportunity in between. So it's up to each and every one of us to see that opportunity, to seize that opportunity, and to use it to the benefit of uh, individuals or a group as a collective thing. So you as a fresh graduate, do not see this as a lah, teruk lah, I in the wrong cause, all these things. No, please. No, you should not surrender before you go to the battle. What you should do is that use this and find the light at the end of the tunnel. Find the opportunity at the end of the working experience. I am sure, and I believe this industry is, even though it's free by by the nature, but still people like to travel. People wants to travel. People needs to travel. So therefore the request and the interest and the requirement is always there. Only it's up to you. You have to portray, you have to do, you have to be innovative, and you have to use your initiative to ensure that you can excel in the industry. Do not just be a listener, a follower, but be a leader. Not many people can be a leader, but I don't think that it is not possible for you. It is possible. Okay, go for it, go for it, and go for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akil. Mr. Para, any words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think every generation, they are opposed with unprecedented challenges in their lifetime, I think. And as a fresh graduate at this point in time, you might look at it and say that, oh, why in this point in time I'm facing this, but if you have coped and managed to get through this, the rest of the journey will be a lot more easier for you. So use this as an opportunity to learn, because learning is a lifelong process, So with this challenge is not only, is just for you or us, or is going through every single human being in the world that's facing the same challenge now. I think Malaysia, I think we are coping quite well with a lot of other countries that I think we can see our health frontliners are doing quite a good job, and we are quite blessed that the death rates are not so great like the other countries in Europe and all that. So with every human being facing the same challenge, and we are uniting together to fight the same enemy, it's impossible for us to lose this battle. I think humanity is one of the greatest strength that we need to now come together and be and save the world that we all are living in now and facing. So that's my final words for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farah. Thank you. Dato', would you like to wrap up?
Okay, thank you, Didi. Alfred, will you please share my slide? Now, this is just my one slide, just want to share with everyone. I think y'all can read. Life is not always perfect, and there is always a possibility for a problem right now. But the problem is not the end, but it depends how you see, like what Mr. Akil say, that and Mr. Para also did mention. If you break your pencil into two, the other one, I think, is also another piece of pencil. You can sharpen it, and then now you got two pencils. So in life, nothing is impossible. It's an always turn impossible become possible. This is the different. Yeah, you can excuse the slide, Alfred. I think just would like to share a little bit. In my past career, I never come across so tough, so different crisis. In my previous experience, in my exhibitions, I gone through like birthday, I gone through like election day, we gone through like a lot of demonstration, even though one of my show home deck was just after SARS. I think we gone through all these kind of things, but never come across of this COVID-19 so much different. But I think we have to, because like what you all say, I think we have to think out of the box. We always make impossible possible. So I think let's work together and see how to overcome this. Do stay calm, stay at home, stay cool, be patient, because this COVID-19 is just periods of time, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. Time will come back to the normal life. Prepare ourselves for the next new beginning and when the economy bounces back. First thing is to sustain the company and be prepared for the next economy to bounce back. And I wish all of you good health and stay safe. I think that is the take-out point, because at this moment, sometimes don't force yourself if this is not the real time for you to go. In Chinese say, Cantonese is say like what, 天時地利人和. I think it means you don't have the, maybe Didi, you know how to explain. It is not the time for you to invest. It's not the time for you to do. You don't have the luck. You don't have the timing. And this is not the good time. Maybe you might want to pause for a while and wait and go back. And then you start again your new beginning, a new journey. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dato'.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank you. And with that, I would like to thank our 4 experts and a big thank you to all our viewers for spending your precious evening with us. We hope this webinar has given you new ideas to work with. To survive this period in history, we need to change our mindset. As entrepreneurs and people with entrepreneurial mindset, we will find solutions and visions to adapt to any new future. Please look out for future webinars by MACEOS. If you have any ideas or topics you would like our next webinar to cover, do share it with us on our WhatsApp number within the next hour. As an industry, let's stay united, support our Ministry of Health in their efforts, and change our own mindset. With that, stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy. Thank you and good night. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Thank you, Halim. Thank you, Akil and Para. Didi,
Thank you.
good job. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you, Didi in house, Didi.
Thank you, Mr. Akil. Thank you.